We'll call the Stark County Commission meeting to order. It's Thursday, July 6, 2023. It's 9 a.m. I'll do the pledge first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first of all, we have the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? And Mrs. Prosa, if you want to be off the agenda, you said, right? Okay, then we'll remove the section line road, that issue with Diane Prosa, that's being removed.
Mr. President, I'm probably going to be leaving about 10 o'clock.
Okay,
So,
okay. Any changes to that? I'll have to look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next is the minutes from June 6, 2023. Is there any corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes from June 2nd, or June 6th, 2023.
So move.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Next is accounts payable. Is there any questions on the accounts payable? Any questions on the accounts payable? Not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the accounts payable.
A motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. We roll call vote then on this. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Clares.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carried. Next, to do the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Julie Obergewich. On June 21st in Gladstone, at the Gladstone Fire Department, we had the privilege to award Mr. Joe Warner with the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award in the category of leadership. He was selected by the Stark County mayors out of 39 submitted nominations. He was our 12th award presentation, and I have a video here that I'd like to share with you as well. The mayors met, and out of 39 submitted nominations, they overwhelmingly selected Joe Warner as our next recipient for the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award. Joe was well respected by everybody that he meets. Obviously, you can tell just the different people that are in this room today.
May we, who are privileged to know him, continue to share your mercy, caring for our neighbor in the many excellent ways Joe has shown us.
Joe has served the Stark County community in several ways. He served as the fire chief of the Gladstone Consolidated Fire Department for 32 years and currently serves on the Gladstone Fire Department's board of directors. Through his work with the fire department, he has brought many trainings and educational opportunities to emergency medical service members in Stark County and surrounding areas. After the attack of 9/11, Joe accepted a position at the Southwestern District Health Unit as the Emergency Preparedness and Response Coordinator. Because of this position, he has trained many healthcare workers and emergency medical service providers in isolation and decontamination procedures for potentially deadly biological weapons such as Ebola, SARS, anthrax, and smallpox. He was at the forefront of pandemic training and response when COVID-19 hit the state of North Dakota and has dedicated many long hours to keeping Western North Dakota safe and healthy. Joe has also served on the board of directors for the Southwest District Homeless Coalition and has found dozens of residents a warm place to sleep. I may be biased as Joe is my father, but I also have firsthand knowledge of his dedication to the safety and security of Western North Dakota. I have seen him rush out the door during holidays to douse the flames of a burning building, and the pain in his eyes as the COVID numbers became ever more threatening. My father is the definition of a community service member, and I can think of few people more deserving of the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award.
We wouldn't be standing here today in this building without Joe. When he started, we were a 3-truck, 3-bay department, and now we're 10 trucks and 6 bays.
Joe began his fire service career in January 5th, 1977. He received a life membership from the NDFA on May 26, 1999. Joe, on behalf of the North Dakota Firefighters Association, I present you with this 45-year service award. Well done.
Joe is a pioneer when it comes to emergency preparedness and response. People that I hire now, I'm modeled after you. You're that all-around knowledgeable person that I needed.
And his expertise being almost the very first emergency preparedness coordinator in the state locally, he has been the longest tenured emergency preparedness coordinator with public health. Joe, you are more than a colleague. You are much more than a mentor. You're the brother I never had and one of my best friends. And nobody's more deserving of this award than you. So thank you, Joe.
We have a lot of respect for all these guys that basically give their time and a portion of their lives to these volunteer rural fire departments. It's very noble. I do have a challenge going for you here tonight, and I've only handed out 3 of these in my life. Thank you, Joe.
Joe has helped to build a culture within our public safety community that is founded on the values of compassion for those living and working within Stark County, and having a responsibility and a dedication and the time to respond to those in some of their most vulnerable moments.
Joe has more than earned the Spirit of Excellence Award. He's lived and breathed the definition for the entirety of the time that I've known him, and I suspect it's been that way his whole life. His no-nonsense and humble approach to his many roles within our community leave me inspired and encouraged to continue striving for excellence in the first responder community in Stark County and beyond.
Hey Joe, congratulations on winning the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award. I can't think of a more worthy recipient. Half a century in fire service, over 30 years as the chief. You're exactly what makes Western North Dakota such a special place to be. I hope you really enjoy the night. I hope you enjoy the event, and I'm so proud to have known you and know how much you've done for Western North Dakota.
Under his guidance, the Gladstone Fire Department has become a symbol of reliability and trust. I'm giving you the Governor's Medallion. This is on behalf of Governor Doug Burgum and grateful citizens of the state of North Dakota. It is my understanding that this medallion is given out very, very rarely, but because of the extraordinary circumstances of your service, you easily qualify for this. So thank you so much, Joe.
I got more people here than I do in the entire town. What a great turnout. This person, you can tell in this room, has given everything he can to everybody here. It is my privilege and my honor to present this award to you. Thank you very much, Joe.
Behind you is a truck, and that truck was really a big dream of Joe's. This truck really is representing how much this department has grown. And because of him and his dedication and dreams, thank you on behalf of the board, Joe. We love you. I honestly think that he was put on this earth to help with the Gladstone Fire Department and to build it. And we can't tell you, Joe, how proud we are of you as a family, but we just want to let you know, Joe, how proud we are of you and how much we love you. And I always want you to remember that.
I'm here to give him accolades about what he does for his immediate family, and especially my mom. Since my dad's death in 2014, Joe really was the rock for her and did a lot of things. She had a flooded basement one time, had a water heater that went out, and Joe was always there. Joe, you've been just a wonderful addition to the Sandvik family, and we're just so very proud of you.
I love him. I love Papa. He used to do this thing with me. He would say, what's 2 plus 2 or 4 plus 4? And I'd say, oh, 2 plus 2 is 4, right? And he's like, no, it's 16. And I'd get all mad at him. I would try to explain to him that it's not that, and he'd be like, no, Lizzie, it's 16. And then he'd change his answer to, it's 8. And I'm like, what? And it made me really mad. That's a good memory.
Joe, I can't say no for what you did for me during all this time. I would have something broke, here he was. All I had to do was call. I thank you for everything that you did for me. Take care, and I love you.
I wanted it to be absolutely perfect for Joe. I woke up this morning and I said a prayer, and I thought, I just want this to go so well for him. And it did. And it's because of all of you who attended to show your support for a man who's done so much.
His legacy is one of bravery, selflessness, with a servant leader approach to life. His countless hours of volunteering and giving back to the community are a testament to his character, his deep-rooted sense of duty. His dedication to public service is truly commendable, and it was made Gladstone, North Dakota a safer and better place to live.
Joe will leave behind a legacy that will outlast most of us.
It was really an emotional day. There was a lot of people that showed up for Joe, and for those of you who don't know, he does have an inoperable brain tumor. He is not able to attend today, but we thank him for his service, and we thank everyone who also attended, because the words that were shared there truly meant the world to him, and it was a nice day. Our next award present, the next deadline, I'm sorry, it was emotional for me too. The next deadline for the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award is August 15th, and the categories include leadership, customer service, innovation, stewardship, and also Good Samaritan, random acts of kindness. I don't know Joe. I didn't know him before the event, but doing this is, it touches a lot of people, and so hence why I'm emotional, so I apologize for that. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and it's good to be emotional.
Yeah, it was an excellent choice there with Joey. He did a lot of years of good service for us, this county and the area, part of the state. Thank you. Next, to do the years of service recognition for 2 employees. First one is for Joe Masser. He's with the road department. He has 5 years of service. You come forward. Second one is for Rita Waters, with the maintenance, and I guess she's not available here today, but I'll give this to Mike.
Dean, I'd like to say a few comments about Joe. You know, Joe's one of our guys that does a lot of work in the shop. He welds a lot of things. You know, they say that a guy can weld everything with a broken heart. I think Joe could weld one, Joe, couldn't you? But anyway, he's one of the great staff we have in the county road department. I thank him every day. So, and thanks, Joe, for your years of service, and hopefully got many more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, do the sheriff's report. Corey Lee.
Not that I'm all snotty. Excuse me. Stark County Commission, good morning, Stark County Commission, Sheriff's Department, June highlights. Total calls for service for the month of June 1622. This is up from 1586 last year. 188 traffic stops. This is down from 204 last year. 382 public relations stops. This is up from 302 last year. 17 bar checks. This is up from 10 last year. 12 theft-related calls for service. This is up from 8 last year. You'll kind of see a correlation when drug usage is kind of at its peak, then theft calls go up as well. 22 canine usages. Reminder there that K9 Jerry Lee was out of service for a good portion of the month. Truck reg stopped 7. She participated in 33 calls for service. We responded to 19 accidents, 0 pedestrian, 0 fatality, 2 hit and run, 5 injury, 12 property. There's 15 prisoner transports, 16 court transports, 2 medical transports, 4 juveniles, 1 assist, and 4 mental health. Civil Division attempted 171 paper attempts, 13 subpoenas, 126 civil papers, and 15 criminal papers. There was 86 total arrests, and 66 of those were warrants served. Proud to report, again this year, the carnival, the rodeo, and concert all went out without a hitch. We didn't have any incidents at any of those. We had, again, high visibility, probably a little bit even higher than we did last year. So the deterrent obviously works. If you'll remember back to the days of the carnival being in Dickinson, there was a lot more calls for service from law enforcement and incidents, if you will. South Heart had Family Fun Day this past weekend. That was extremely well attended, good event. They did well. The fireworks show at the culmination of that. We have a new hire, Andrea, in our office, left us to move back to Oklahoma with their family, to be closer to their family. They bought a house down there, so we hired Rachel Stockert away from the police department. Rachel's got about 10 years of experience, so I'm happy to bring her on board. One of the honorable mentions we have for our canines is Canine Archer, located a package outside of what ended up being a search warrant, which contained about 2.5 pounds of methamphetamine. So it's good to get that off the street, or keep that from hitting our streets anyways. So any questions?
How long is Jerry Lee out for you?
He's back. He's back on duty.
Well, I think you have a good addition to replacing Andrea.
Yes, I think Rachel will do very well. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next we'll do interstate engineering. James Cattermas here. No. Oh, I suppose I should choose road department now first. Got ahead of myself here.
Good morning, everyone. Just kind of a little rundown what road crews are up to. We finished graveling 116th last week, and then we're doing some graveling on Ash Cooley Road. We did some straighten out a few inslopes over there. Kind of got that taken care of. This morning we finished up there. We moved the trucks over to Bellfield. I got about 7 or 8 miles of scoria to haul over there. And then when we get done on that project, we're going to move the trucks back to Southard. We got that Southard Road from the county line south to Southard back to where Loop Talks live. We did that a few years ago. We need to get that all tied in. I've got a lot of the gravel truck to Southard intersection in the winter times. We haul over there when we can't put it on the road. So that's where we're going to move from there. Kind of still waiting for the DOT on their special funding. I know, Neil, we had talked briefly about maybe the end of July for funding for our paving project out on 107 and 32nd. So hopefully we can get in line with that. I don't think anything will happen this year. We've got the final lift of gravel on, so it should set sail for the till we get it paved. And sometimes them gravel roads that are totally rebuilt, they're better off setting a few years, because a lot of times when they build them the same year, you find all the pipes as time goes on. So hopefully these will be settled out good. Other than that, I don't have much to, I don't know if our engineers are all busy today, which looks like we got one here, so we'll have his report, and if the others show up, maybe we can do them later.
You got two.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Any questions?
Do you want to talk about
Yeah.
the
Martin
request for that fund?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. The for that the claim that was filed for I'd like permission for myself, Dean, and Bernie to try and negotiate that.
Yeah, so what happened a while back was there was a project, and I don't know how familiar you guys are, and Al's certainly more educated on this than I am, but there was a project that was bid by Martin Construction due to some issues getting the box culvert. Is that what it was?
I admit, so what I'll do is good run so everybody understands that the project was bid, I forget, it's been a while ago. The low bidder didn't have his paperwork to the state. They took it away, and there was a DBE goal that had to be met. They met it, didn't get the paperwork in. They give it to the second bid. He didn't have, so, and then they give it to the third bid. He didn't have it, so finally Martin ended up getting the project, which unfortunately, it was $100,000 more than the low bid, but it is what it is. And with that whole process, the bill date, they lost their bill date for the box culvert, so it went into liquidated damages. So I think we just need to get this project resolved and put behind us and move on. And I just need the authority to, or the authorization for us three to sit across the table and negotiate with the contractor to see where we can end up.
So I think the liquidated damages, based on, they originally had applied twice, I think, for an extension of time, which was denied. There's certain federal guidelines that they did not meet, and had that been approved, we would have been in danger of losing all of our federal funding. So obviously it went over time, and then they were assessed these liquidated damages. And so what now Martin wants us essentially to negotiate with them about taking some of these liquidated damages based on the fact that this was really, they did everything, they're asserting to us they did everything they could to the best of their ability to get the product that they needed to get this on time. They made reasonable requests, which were denied, and so they got dinged on it in the process. So essentially what we'd like to do is be able to negotiate with Martin about those liquidated damages, how much we would be willing to perhaps take on some of them, considering there definitely was an issue with securing these box culverts. And having the commission, one, approve negotiations, and then approve whatever number gets finalized. I think the liquidated damages were $80,000. Yeah, so it would be less than that.
When was this first bid, this project?
Oh, that was probably bid, well, it was complete last summer, so probably over a year ago, year and a half approximately.
Mm-hmm. No, that can't be right. Well,
That's
oh, yeah,
when it
that
was,
might be
that's
right.
when
Yeah,
it
you're
was
right.
bid,
Bid,
and it was done last year. There was a lot of issues, and we talk about it every meeting. We can't get box culverts, and I don't think personally it's not their fault. It's just the way things happen and the guidelines we have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not our fault either.
No, and it's, so.
No, and you and I have talked about this, Al. I think our role as a commission would be to be a facilitator, not so much a participant. I think the DOT needs to hear a face-on-face, and I'm glad that we're heading down that direction. But I just think it's real tough and kind of a tough precedent for us to set, that every time something like this happens, we're it already cost us, what you said,
Well, it's 100,000. Ours is 20% of that, so another extra 20.
so.
In the same respect, though, Martin's our neighbor, Martin's a part of our community. It's not really his fault that it happened, it's not our fault that it happened. But we do want to continue having a good relationship with them. We don't want to close this door, burn a bridge. We want to support them.
I agree. I don't think Martin's holding us accountable for this.
No,
I
they're
think
not.
that The
They're not.
player in this.
They're
is-
asking for help.
The player in this is the box culvert manufacturer, and then whoever has the authority to either waive or apply the late penalties, right?
Right. And I kind of we had some meetings with DOT, visit at length. There's a point in time where you need to figure out, do we want to go in litigation on the project or do we want to settle? What's it cost to get a litigation attorney, construction attorney? And that's what the DOT does. They look at the bottom line, this is going to cost us this much. I mean, I'm just asking for direction here from the board, what you would like us to do, because if we don't settle, it could go into litigation.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see all efforts exhausted, and we're the player of last resort, but.
Maybe what we could do is we could have this meeting, sit across the tables, and then bring it to see where we end up.
You could call a special meeting if you wanted.
So the additional fees were assessed by the DOT.
Right. Actually, what happened, it was held out of their pay estimate.
And my understanding of that is that had to happen because had they extended the date, then our federal money for this would likely have disappeared. There's very, very few incidents where that deadline will get extended without those liquidated. Very few. I think like light poles or something weird were one of them. And so if the DOT would have extended that date, then we were at risk of losing the federal funding that was helping with this project, which was like up to 1.2 million or something.
That would have cost us way more than
Right.
negotiating something here.
One comment I would have is, when these contractors bid this job, and what the delay is this DBA standard, right?
Well, what the first issue was is the first contractor didn't get his paperwork in time. He met everything, except he didn't get it in as a timeline. Jeremy, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't get it to the DOT in time, so they give it to the second bid. There's a DBE goal of like 4.2%. They didn't have it, so then they took it from him, give it to the third bid. So all this took time, and what happened is the supply company give away, because everybody was promised the same delivery date at the bid opening. Well, as this thing kept snowballing, they give the bid date to another project, and so.
So when we awarded the original contractor, where do they fit into this whole? They basically have caused this mess by not getting their paperwork in on time.
Not really. It's just part of the process. And all the years I've done, I've never really had an issue like this here where it went down the line. But there's, like I said, there's rules we got to follow by, and the DBE is one of them. And that's, if the DBE goal is right for the second bid, we wouldn't. I don't know.
And they need to have. Well, what's that whole?
That's disadvantaged business has to be done by a certain percentage of the project. Not every project has that goal. A goal of some percent. Some do, some don't. We had it.
And then I believe Martin's DBE contractor.
Well, that's
Right. There was a whole list.
There's a
of
whole
things
mess.
that-
Cause see, so Martin met the DBE goal, but his DBE supplier, he was going to buy the box from the concrete company and supply it to Martin. And then when this whole date thing got goofed up, when they couldn't supply it, he backed out. So he told Martin, I'm out. So then he had to go find a new DB goal. So the box culvert actually got shifted ahead a little bit of what they thought. So then Martin's new DB goal guy said, well, I can't deliver it. So then he had to go find another one. So, I mean, this thing was a real disaster, putting it mildly, so.
Okay.
Is there any forgiveness on them fees if there's anything out of control?
We've been told that, I don't know, maybe Jeremy's probably got more. This is the first time I've ever had this happen in the almost 20 years I've been here with projects. I think there's no funding on 80%. It's going to either come from us or it's going to, however, we just negotiate a price or
So, I mean, the question now is, do we go and negotiate and you trust that we make the best decision, or do we negotiate and come back for approval?
I think
I mean, it takes us 2 months down the road then.
Have we spoke with the DOT on those fees?
yeah, we've had, and they are what they are.
They are. Okay.
So I guess I'll make the motion that we negotiate and have you trust that we make the best decision for the county and for good of everything.
You were talking about the motion to have a committee meet with them and negotiate, right?
Yes, that
Okay.
was my motion, yes.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second. Any other discussion?
Is this a meeting with Martin?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I think we should put I know you don't want to put a maximum on what our contribution is, because then you're giving away.
No, you don't want
No,
yard.
I think we'll negotiate that
I
at the
think you
time.
negotiate a deal and bring it back to the commission.
We can do that. That's fine.
That's fine, too.
Even if
Yep.
it's a special meeting.
So then we gotta vote this one no, and you gotta make a new motion?
Can you amend that motion?
Okay, I'll amend the motion to Commissioner Messer's approval. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it, so so we bring back the
Bring back a recommended.
recommendations for us to approve it.
Okay, do you agree with the second then, or? Sure. Yes. Okay, any other discussion? And the roll call vote, Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
And chair votes aye, motion carried. Also, you have there was a change in the bill for the capital improvements
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Belfield.
Lana, do you have that?
Yeah,
That was for the electrical in the Belfield shop.
right. First off, at the last commission meeting, there was a motion made to approve $37,683.01 to come out of capital improvements, when the amount actually was $22,935.26. So I don't know if you have to amend anything or if that's just informational. And
That's
then
it.
the new request is for $15,825.97, which is for electric sales and service. And actually, they're both for electric sales and service.
One was to repair some lights in the Dickinson shop, and the bulk of it was over in the Belfield for new lighting and wiring.
Just I'd look for a motion to approve the corrected fee amounts then for the come out of capital improvement fund.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the June approved number of 37,683.01 be amended to 22,935.26. And we can do this in one motion, can't we?
Yes.
And that we approve the bill of 15,825.97 and have those amounts come out of the capital improvements fund.
Okay, I have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any other discussion? Not, roll call vote, Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey, Al, and then one more thing, in the month of June, the road department got that snow reimbursement. Do you want to talk about that? You want me to talk about that?
Yeah, I can't remember, what was it, 250,000?
Actually, we got 2 payments now totaling 530,000 and some change, so just over 530,000.
Good, well, I'll help pay our fuel bill, because our fuel bill alone in March was 50-some thousand just for diesel for plowing snow, plus the wear and tear and everything else, so it helps.
Yeah, this was what, 12? Yeah, I can't remember. We submitted testimony on.
Yeah, well, thanks whoever helped get that down the line, because it definitely helps on our bottom line at the end of the year, so, thank you.
Okay, thanks. There's nobody here from Interstate Engineering. And not, then we'll go to Highland Engineering, then go ahead.
Morning, Commissioners. Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering. First project to talk about here is BRJ 0045074. This is a bridge replacement with a box culvert on 80th Avenue Southwest. This project is already bid to Central Specialties. They just mobilized in last week and continued kind of this week. Closed the bridge last Monday, and they're hoping to start work with the diversion and stripping and removing the bridge here today and through the weekend. So this one's under construction. They're currently scheduled to be complete with this project on August 8th. So assuming everything goes to plan, which always happens in construction, right? About 4 weeks of construction here, we'll be done with that project. So the next project, BRJ 0045076, is on 83rd Avenue Southwest. This is another bridge replacement with a box culvert. We're working on final plans for this, hoping to have those finished soon, or latest is August 4th for that submittal. And this will be bid this October with a next summer completion. The final project is actually 3 sites, BRJ 0045077, 32nd Street Southwest, 91st Avenue Southwest, and 88th Avenue Southwest. These are all, again, bridge removals, and on these, they're very low volume roads, so we're looking at replacing them with low water crossings. These we have PS&E plans, our 90% plans are due tomorrow, so we're working on finalizing those here today, as well as our hydraulic report, and this will be bid with the same dates as the previous project, bid in October for next summer construction. With that, I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Just for information, the last 3 project he talked about, they're 100% funded by the feds for construction, design, and, or engineering and design, construction.
Okay, no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, James Cadmers, are you on the line, phone line?
Yes, I am. Sorry I couldn't be there today.
Okay, you can go ahead then. Do you have a report?
Okay, on our two design projects, 38th Street, we did finally receive a response on our DCE document review request. The department has asked that the environmental documents be updated with the new number designated, and that we resubmit that. The excuse being that since we didn't have funding before, that we need to change from the BRZ to the BRJ designation, and then we resubmit. They did, however, reiterate that the projects will be bid at the same opening. In my mind, possibly setting the stage for more delays in the review process. It almost seems like they want to bundle these projects, and they may not give us our review that we want until the next project is ready for its DCE review. I'm just kind of speculating that might be the holdup, since we didn't have funding. That's why it's been so slow. That's the best answer that I've gotten out of them. So for that next project, 130th Avenue Southwest, we're working on a scope, getting it drafted for internal review next week. Then we can submit our scope and fee to the state for their review on that bridge removal project. Any questions on those 2 projects?
Any questions? Hearing none, okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next we'll do Northern Plains.
Morning.
Morning.
Just got some couple real brief updates. 32nd 107, they're finishing the seeding and erosion control in the next couple days. They got some cleanup to do. That should get resolved here real soon. 131st, not much to report on that, other than we're reviewing the shop drawings and stuff like that, getting ready for a late fall starting date on those projects over by Belfield. Couple design projects we had talked about before. On 41st Street and 109th Avenue is a 2-mile project, and then 114th Avenue Southwest is a separate project. Put a couple maps together and a couple engineers' estimates together. What we're proposing is to fund these with county funded or county funds, so there's no federal involvement, no state involvement, so it's much more efficient way to design and construct. So we get the go-ahead from the commission. We'll probably bid these late summer or early fall this year. Really about the only hangup would be any easement issues, which we're not aware of anything major issues, but look at the opinion of cost. You know, we got our costs in there, construction cost, a few other things in there, but between the two of them, I think it was just under $1 million. I think the other one might be around 350 or something like that, but that's kind of what we're planning to do, is bid those in the next couple of months, and whether those get built this year or not, maybe is a little uncertain, and we may be under the threshold that they don't have to go to a public bid opening, perhaps. If they're under that $200,000 threshold, you can just get quotes. But until it gets designed, we don't really know for sure and get the easements. But anyway, that's kind of what we're planning for, is probably a September bid opening date for those projects. So any questions from the commission on those projects or anything else?
So Al, unless you're going to answer this question, so if that gets done this year, you have funds in your
Well,
budget?
we haven't touched that oil and gas prairie dog fund at all. There's, the money's just an account. There'd be great plenty for it. I think Jeremy would like you guys to make a motion to move forward on these projects, so.
I'd make a motion that we move forward on these projects and get.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second. Any other discussion? Do a roll call vote then. Commissioner Marsh?
Aye.
Commissioner Masser?
Aye.
Commissioner Clares?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Do you have anybody on the phone for KLJ?
I don't think Andrew was gonna be here and not available today. I think he's fishing in Canada.
Okay.
Lucky him.
Okay. Next then we'll go to the civil asset forfeiture fund request then the state's attorney's office.
Yes, that's for me. So we have a civil asset forfeiture fund. I don't know if you guys need to know what that is or have questions about it, but I can certainly answer questions about it. But it's essentially a fund where proceeds from criminal actions, there's an individual who gets caught with a bunch of drugs, they've got money on them, things like that, those get forfeited into this civil asset forfeiture fund. There is, I don't know the exact amount in there, $30-some thousand. I don't think it's been touched since 2019. I've not asked for anything out of there. And so the state's attorney's, my office is looking at implementing a case management system, which I can tell you is really, really long overdue. And I'd like to take $22,445 of those funds that are just essentially sitting in that civil asset forfeiture fund to get this project, this case management system up and running. My office deals with at least four different law enforcement agencies. So we've got the Dickinson Police Department, Sheriff's Office, Highway Patrol, and then BCI. Right now, we're all paper. Our discovery is an e-process, but we're having issues with that. This would it would completely streamline our office. It would keep things much more manageable. It would create documents for us. There's so much that it can do that I could spend a bunch of time telling you, but what I'm telling you is it will greatly aid my office. We spoke with two different companies. One was the one that I'm pitching, Spartan. They were cheaper, but we liked them better. They are already, and I think they said 24 different either counties or municipalities in North Dakota. So they're aware of our system. They're aware of our criminal justice system. They're aware of our, they've built these systems for state's attorney's offices in North Dakota before, which we liked. They're also the company that the state will be looking to or is looking to utilize. So we thought that was a good idea as well. But You know, we're in 2023. I don't know many agencies that are paper only, and we are just getting to the point where we certainly can't be. And I've been dragging my feet on it a little bit, and it was just it's time to get it rolling. So I'm asking for that 22,445 out of the civil asset forfeiture fund. The yearly, I think was 5225. I requested the yearly funds for 2 years from the task force civil asset forfeiture fund. At least the first year is funded through that. So, and maybe 2. That was kind of I'm not quite sure how that motion went the other day. But at least for the startup and year 1, there would be no cost to the county other than what's coming out of the civil asset forfeiture funds. So,
And this committee has recommended approval according to the documents.
Yeah.
That was my committee, and I do recommend approval for it.
Okay.
I mean, her girls are overwhelmed anyway with paperwork, and there's just so many other things they can work on.
yeah.
Okay. But I'll move that we approve the recommendation from the Civil Asset Forfeiture Fund in the amount of $22,445.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call vote then. Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carried. And the State's Attorney's Office had additional staff member request, and you want to go into that then?
Yeah, so I am also asking for an additional staff member, not an attorney, but staff at this time. We have 4 attorneys, we have 3 legal assistants. Again, we're busy and things are piling up. They are overworked and they are overwhelmed. And now with the implementation of a case management system, I would like to hire someone while we implement this, while we're all learning this system, so that if someone doesn't come in after the fact and we have to get them all up to speed. So it seems to me that it would be a good time to try to get everything rolling all at once. The reason that we're busier, I suppose, is cases are just much more complex these days. You don't get like a citation and a police report. You've got tons and tons and tons of discovery. You've got cell phone data. You've got it's phenomenal what you're trying to deal with, and discovery requests, and it's just a lot of extra work. And when you've got 4 attorneys that are pumping out full-time work, we really need another individual up there to be just essentially match our work product.
Did you say this employee would be temporary,
No, full-time.
but to help set up the Spartan system, or?
No.
That's
So
separate.
I guess the reason I said the reason they're coming simultaneously is because I would like the new employee to be hired while I implement this, so that they're all kind of trained at the same time. Because it's not just gonna be a plug in and play. There's gonna be a training process on it. So
Do you have enough office space up there for another person?
yeah, we do. It'll be a little tight, but we'll make it fit.
Do we know about what this would cost for the rest of this budget year? Do you know?
No, I guess I don't. I did have Joetta draw up let me see if I can find it. I'm sure it's in my massive emails somewhere. Okay. A job announcement in the event that you guys decided to approve it. So the range is between 22 to 33, with 2750 being the midpoint. I think we would start the wage at about 24 and up, depending on experience. So, and we're halfway through
So about 30,000.
somewhere around there,
Is that a
likely, yeah.
realistic?
25,000.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the additional staff request for the State's Attorney's Office.
Not second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, state aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Next, we'll do the Rough Rider North Human Services Zone Board appointment. Commissioner Claris, you were gonna have.
Yeah. At our last Rough Rider North Zone Board meeting, we were informed, or I guess it was 2 meetings ago, we were informed that they had They require a legislator on the zone board. So the zone board itself, we discussed this and we came up with some names, local legislators to be on this board. And Dean Rummel was approached for this area. I believe Dunn County is going to appoint Dory Hauk, I believe, as well. But Stark County is, the board has agreed to put forward Dean Rummel's name to be on the Rough Rider North Zone Board. So I would like to make the motion to bring on Dean to the Rough Rider North Zone Board.
Do we have any others that were interested?
I believe that so there was quite a few talked to. Like I said, Dean Rummel was talked to, and Dory Hauk, and we're kind of looking for that diversity. But like I said, the board kind of came up with this. Dean being from Stark County, major stakeholder in the zone, if you will. So those are the two names that we came up with.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second on it?
I'll second that.
A second. Any other discussion?
Just one quick question. So would Dunn County make the appointment of Dory Hauk?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Do a roll call vote, then Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Masser.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carried. Next to do the Stark County Vector Control Board appointment. I believe according to our human resources, there was no other applicants other than the present Jerry Mayer is still interested in remaining on that board, and there was no other applicants, correct? Okay. I'd look for a motion to approve Jerry Mayer to remain on the Vector Control Board.
I would make the motion for Jerry to stay on
Okay.
the board.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Next, we got the our county weed board appointments.
I was waiting for Travis to get here. He's on his way. He should be here shortly. So if we
Okay.
can move.
We'll move to something else.
Something else for
Okay.
a minute.
How about the Youth Correction Center detention service agreement on that?
We can do that.
Okay.
So in your packets, Karen included a copy of the agreement, the detention service agreement. This had to be signed July 1, so I believe she had Dean take a look at it with her, and it has been signed, so.
It was also reviewed by the state attorney's office.
Yeah,
And,
this is something we get every year. So YCC is the only facility in North Dakota that takes juveniles that need to be, have a lockdown facility. We don't have anything like that in Stark County. We don't use it a lot, but when we need it, we do use it. And so this is just kind of a rolling, I shouldn't say a rolling agreement, but it's an agreement that we're aware of every year that we re-sign every year.
Okay.
Do we need action on that? Probably not.
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Okay. Next, I guess, can you do the pledge of
Yeah, we can
assets?
do
and-
that. Okay, so I handed out earlier our pledge of assets from the banks that we currently are using for our CDs and for our checking money markets, DDM accounts. So you'll find Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Their pledge amount is 3.925 million, market value 3.901 million. So that gives us an excess over our securities of 1.3 million. So we'll need a motion to approve these at the end. I think you can approve them all in one shot. And then I also included for you the Bravera. This is our new DDM account. And like, starting on page 2, you will see a listing of all of the different banks. So what they do is they send $248,700 to multiple banks so that those funds are FDIC insured. So that's how we are maintaining security on these DDM accounts. And so I just included it for you so you can see. And the last page will show you that that DDM account earned an annual percentage yield of 4.59%. Interest for that month was $129,000. Yeah, right?
Yep.
And then to Bravera, we also have some CDs. So you will see that our pledged amount from Bravera, 7.651 million with a market value of 6.7 million. Cornerstone, we have CDs there also that that looks a little different, but what they have is a pool of different assets that they use for pledging. The total current face value of that pool is $155 billion. So that is what we are using for our pledging. I didn't include anything for the Dakota Community DMM, but it's exactly the same as the Bravera DDM as far as how they secure our assets. They just do the same $248,000 to different banks.
Okay. Any other questions on that, or? Now to look for a motion to approve our pledge of assets.
I'll make that motion.
We have motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Not for the roll call vote, Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carried.
Do we want to talk about that CDs, those renewals at all, or they're good as they are?
You can, if you want to discuss that, we can.
We can. There are 2 CDs that are renewing today, actually, and you have a sheet that lists all of the different quotes that we got from Bravera, Dakota Community, Cornerstone, Dakota Bank, and Choice. Karen has highlighted the 12-month 5.36%. I believe that's the Choice. That's where she wants to renew at Bravera. And I believe she has already talked to them about that transferring over there, but it hasn't happened yet. If anyone has any suggestions or comments there. But that is her choice to go to 12 months.
Any discussion on that? I think our feeling is the board is that should be coming through us for approval on that.
And we've talked about this previously, that all these renewals and anything to do financial needs to be approved by the board. You know, she's made her recommendation, and I'm fine with the recommendation, but that action needs to come from us.
I think could you make a motion on that? That's how these CDs are handled? I remember back in November-ish that it was, and Carla was still on, and that she needed to go to the chair with those recommendations, and then they could renew them. So maybe if you want to change it, we could have a motion on that.
I would certainly do that. I mean, do you want to deal with these 2 CDs to start with, or do you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would be fine.
I would move that we do I don't have it right in front of me, the 2 CDs, renew them at the recommended 12-month CD.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, any other discussion? Okay, and not to go roll call vote, Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carried. Okay. Now we can go back, I guess we got break for park board now.
Travis is here if you want to grab him quick.
We got scheduled 10 o'clock though for park board.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I have a few things I want to throw in at the park board, and I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so then we'll recess now and go into the park board meeting then.
I'm leaving, just, yep, as soon as I give my 5 cents worth.
Is someone calling in?
And I would like to see if we can elect a chairman pro tempore, Paul Claris. In Randy's absence, our vice president is on the phone, so therefore we'd like to, if there's any objection to that.
I'm good with that.
Okay,
Do you need a motion or just do it?
nope,
Okay.
okay. Hearing no objection, we'll turn it over to Paul. Thank you.
Okay, good morning. I would call this Stark County Park Board meeting for July 2023 to order. Do we need to take a roll? We've got everybody here.
I've got him,
Okay.
yep.
First thing here,
I would have a request.
okay.
If we could move straight down to the fairgrounds restroom redesign discussion, because I did visit with Mr. Tuis on my end of it, and I would like to give my input to it, and then I'm gonna take off.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move forward on the agenda. We can come back. We've got a couple of just small items, if we can just ratify the agenda quick.
Sure,
Can I
absolutely.
get a motion to ratify the agenda?
Motion to ratify the agenda?
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll do the minutes real quick. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last park board of June? If so, if I can get a motion to approve the minutes from June of 2023, please?
Motion to approve the June 6th minutes?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, let's move forward to old business quick so we can get Bernie going here. We've got fairgrounds restroom, the redesign discussion, committee report. I believe we have Neil and Bernie on that committee along with
Well,
Randy.
We all met separately with individual
Okay.
contractors.
Okay, so go forward with that.
I met with Tracy Tuis from Tuis Construction. He was not impressed with the plan that the people made up for us. In fact, we had a commissioner that laid out a plan that he thought was probably better than the plan that was made up, and that was just a amateur doing his work. He said the dirt work, I'm just gonna go through my points really quick. The dirt work could be done by the county instead of getting hired out. The septic is probably 3 times the size that we need, in his opinion. And these are all going by, the county could seed the grass instead of get that hired out. There's really no spec on roofs and fencing that, not final, or not final for detail. Fill material, can we use the county fill instead of Fisher sand and gravel? The foundation slab on grade, it's not a full foundation. He said he would recommend doing thickened edge instead of doing that. And like I said, a poorly done plan. Fixture costs, quality, and level need maintenance walls. I guess, I don't know exactly what I wrote down there, but fixture costs. Oh, the quality of the toilets and stuff was probably way higher than what we would need for it.
Okay.
And the maintenance walls are on the outside. And if you put maintenance walls to the inside, you would save that much space, so much accessibility. And, you know, plumbing would all run on the inside where you would have less chance of freezing, even though we don't run it year round. But right now, the maintenance walls for the bathrooms are running on the outside walls to access the plumbing, where if you ran them down the middle, you could access from both sides. And the plumbing would run right down the middle instead of running in separate areas. So that's basically what I've got. If you got any questions for what I understood from our discussion, that was just a quick rundown. So I just basically the plan was probably not a well thought out plan.
Yeah, I concur, and I guess having discussions, part of and I would want to ask Amanda on this. So at the last meeting, Lisa, you presented some numbers from the architect, from the mechanical engineer on upgrading these, and I guess my question is, and it's alluding to the same things that Bernie ran into in his conversations that I'm running into in my conversations, is if you get a simplified HVAC system that would be functional in that space, do we need to have the mechanical engineer redraft that for $9,000 when that's about the cost of what the unit would be? So, you know, I guess that's a question. I want to make sure we do it right, but I also know that we can save a lot of money if we just get it done in the most efficient way. Because I think every contractor I've talked to, and Bernie would do the same, is they reiterated, we bid what the plan was.
That's right.
And not the way we would recommend it being done.
And even the building construction block, we wouldn't have, we could do
I've got a whole litany of stuff that
a
we
steel
can-
building,
Yeah.
small one.
Yep. So anyway, I don't know what the threshold is that if we go through it, you know, what it requires that it be bid. You know, could you do the building in one bid, do the mechanical in one bid? And, you know, those kind of things. That's just my question.
I'd have to look. I think it's $200,000 for public. I just have to look.
Okay. But could you do the building part separate, in a separate bid versus?
That's what I mean. I have to take a look. I know I just read a case about it not all that long ago too, so it should be fairly easy for me to find.
I know I had asked that question too, whether we could do that or not, and I was told it would be very unethical to separate them so that we didn't have to go to bid, and that would be an issue. And that just came from other engineering firms. But-
Safe driving.
Okay.
So I guess I would have a question. So where are we basically, we're gonna bid the same size building with the same amount of toilets,
Yeah.
urinals? I mean, where are we at? Are we comparing, I mean, these changes that Twos is talking about, are we talking same basic layout, amount of services? Are we going smaller? Where are we at?
So the approach I've used with the conversations I've had is, let's get some recommendations, size, number of stools, including, you know, that mid-room is quite large. Could we downsize that and still function? And to make sure we get it into a range that we would find acceptable and not pinpoint anybody, but that's the attitude that we've been, or at least I've used, and I guess that's kind of where we're heading. I don't see us being able to quite make that big, but we'll be close, I think. We'll see.
The only thing with that utility room, it looks rather large, and I don't know what the footprint of the tank is going to be, because we need a pressure tank in there. We don't have enough for that.
Right.
And I don't know that they clearly drew that on that plan so that we could see how much we could shrink down.
And you need how many gallons in that tank? 1,000?
I don't know what they actually spec'd anymore.
2,000?
They said two is what they recommended. Now, I don't know if that was correct or not.
You know, Neil, I've got a quick question, and you know, you ever heard about design build? How does that work?
Yeah, design build basically is that you hire somebody to, with a budget, and then they collect a fee based on that budget. So they would, you know, I don't know if we can do it that way or not. I just think we need to get a bunch of information, collectively put it together, and then rebid it. And I think we're getting there with what because I also visited with Mr. Tews and Coling and Roars as well. So
And did you have the opportunity to talk to Randy Schwartz about that? I know yesterday you said you were going to call him. He thought with the conversation with me is that you guys could not meet with these individuals, that it was illegal based on what Amanda had sent out. And so I don't know if that is something that you want to talk about. They could still meet as a committee with individually with them.
If it's as a committee, yeah, if it's noticed, like a meeting.
I mean, their individual meetings, that's what he was under the impression, that they could not do that, individual meetings with these, that it was not legal based on what you sent in an email.
I have to take a look at my email again. It's
Okay.
really a finite, it's a fine line,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That's why he hasn't moved forward with meeting any of those people, but I don't know.
and I think the timeline on this anyway is going to be fall construction, underground work, and then as whoever is successful, as the weather provides during the winter, they'll do outside framing and those kind of things. We're not going to get this started soon, but we need to get it started so underground could be done before freeze up and.
Okay. Any questions from anyone else? Okay, well, thanks Neil and Bernie for meeting, putting this thing together, trying to come up with a plan for us. Do we expect by the next meeting we'll have something a touch more fleshed
I
out so
think
we can move
we'll
forward?
have a lot more done by then.
Okay, great. With that, I guess we can probably go back to more of the scheduled, County Parks Director, Lisa Heiser, can you have a report for us?
Sure. Just a quick report for you guys on Rough Rider Days. We are going to finish that off on Sunday with the Demolition Derby on July 9th here. So that'll be our Rough Rider Days. But I was just going to report how great they were. All of their events were huge successes despite some rain issues and different things. The carnival, although it was rained out the very first day, they adjusted their schedule and they had outstanding attendance for that again for this year. The rodeo as well, they had great attendance for everything. It was surprising because it was a little bit chillier with the weather. Our kids fair, they did have to reschedule that to July 30th, so that's on your new list of events there too. And then Rough Rider Days for next year will be a huge change for us because that'll move on to the weekend of the 4th, whatever that would be. Right now it's the 28th, 29th, and 30th of June. So it will put us in some contention with Killdeer and Belfouche, Mandan, and Mobridge rodeos. So we will potentially get a lot more of the bigger names, the national finals qualifiers and attendees there. So we expect to even have more attendance to that. Home on the Range, we did a benefit race for them, and that was very well attended. They were able to bring in a lot of dollars for their equine program, which covers their vaccinations, the trimming on all their horses, and all of their vet work. And they're going to come talk to you in the August meeting and just give you some of those numbers of what they're able to do. And those kids were very excited that we were able to give them dollars for that program to continue. That's very important at Home on the Range. 4-H Achievement Days went on, and those were a big success. They were a little bit less of the competitors, but they did really well, and they had nice weather for it at least. The Dustin Lynch concert, that was on, I keep thinking Saturday, but it was on Monday night, and that was really, really well. We had some shortage there, about 3 songs, I understand, that they had to stop due to the lightning as it was coming in. We were all watching it going, should we stop? Should we stop? Because it is quite dangerous to have our people in the grandstands with lightning. So we did shut them down a little short, but they were very happy and a very good concert that they put on there. So it was very, very well attended. And it was, I think he said, twice as big as they've ever had in the history of them. So that's all I really have for you guys for a report for today.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward, we'll go back to old business, motorsports track retaining wall.
That is just on there simply as a placer. We decided at the last one, we'll wait till kind of fall when they kind of shut down their efforts for the season, so we're not interrupting their races, unless there's something that happens in the meanwhile, but that'll just carry on to the next meeting, and then we'll see what we can take care of as we try to locate where that spring is at, so that's all that is.
Okay. And then on to new business, Speedway track sound system invoice.
Yep, so you guys have actually invoices, so it'll include the sound system invoice and a couple other invoices that I handed to you before the meeting. We had a lightning strike out there and we weren't aware of that at first. We just thought something was odd with their sound system, and so I had them come and take a look at it. Kurt Hushka is our sound guy, and he said the amp was blown. And then all of a sudden, the next day we said, okay, there's no internet and some of their stuff wasn't working. So I met Consolidated out there and we walked through it, and he said, this is definitely lightning strike here. And then, you know, as we went through what was going on, it took out some electrical stuff that you can see on some of those bills to pay on electric sales. They ended up having to replace even some of the lights. The lights you'll see, because they only have one more bulb left in the lights, and so you'll see that on my budget justification, that we're going to have to move them to LED system lights out there if we continue to have races. So that's where you'll see some of that, but this is just collectively the 4 bills that we have for repairs from that lightning strike. I will work with the auditor's office to be able to either determine whether we need to file a claim on that lightning strike. We had some questions on what our deductible was and whether it would be worth doing a claim on it or not.
All these invoices are not pertaining to the lightning strike, like the replacement of the GFI outlets on the beer trailer? Is that part of the?
That's what he said.
Okay.
That the power surge took those, and so we replaced that, and then the other one here, find it here. Yeah, the other one unconsolidated was it's called a portable gig switch. Basically, it runs their Wi-Fi. So where the lightning had struck and it went through actually the where it goes across the light poles, and it goes to the next light pole across to the north, and then into that stand, and that's where the amp was blown out in there. And it worked the night before when they had it, so. So I just need, these were not approved on your bills to pay, so I would need, just so I can get these guys paid this month to be able to do this, just our
Okay.
stuff to do, and then.
With that, I guess we look for a motion to pay those bills, these additional bills, or late bills, I guess.
Yes.
In July.
I'd make a motion to approve $4,041.84 total bills for the electrical strike repair.
What was that number? Corey?
$4,041.84.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call vote, I guess. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Is Jason on the phone?
Yes, Jason.
Is it Bose?
Voss.
Voss?
Yes.
Commissioner Voss, do you approve?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion approved.
Okay,
Okay.
that's all I have for you, unless you have something else for me.
I guess if there's nothing else out there anybody has, I'd look for a motion to adjourn the park board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye.
Meeting, we only have one item left, so do you want to go ahead with that? And okay, with the weed board then, Travis, you're.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So as you're all aware, we had 2 terms expiring on the weed board July 1st, and that was Area 2 and Area 4, which were Ron Obrich and Dwight Shank. So the county opened it up for applications for any new individuals interested in being on the weed board, and also those 2 folks also expressed interest in renewing their terms. So the weed board met yesterday and to make a recommendation to the commission for you guys to make your appointments. And the weed board has decided to recommend David N. Warner for Area 2 and Irvin Binstock for Area 4. So I'll let you guys take it from there.
Okay, and Area 2 is the north central part of the county, and the Area 4 is the southwest corner, right?
That is absolutely correct, yes.
Okay, I'd look for a motion then for appointments to the weed board.
Do we want to do them both at one time, or can I just?
We'll do them separately, I think, for each district. We'll do District 2 then first.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I would nominate for Area 2, David N. Warner for a term of 4 years to sit on the Stark County Weed Board.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Not a roll call vote, then Commissioner Clares,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, and Commissioner Marsh is absent.
Okay. Moving to Area 2, we had an application from Irvin Binstock. I would make the motion to appoint Irvin Binstock to the Stark County Weed Board for a term of 4 years, expiring.
For 2 or 4?
I believe it's 4 years.
No, District 4.
Excuse me,
District 4.
District 4, yeah.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Not roll call vote, then Commissioner Clares,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
and chair votes aye, and Commissioner Marsh is absent.
I would add that the 2 members that we replaced, Mr. Shank and Mr. Obrich, served on the Stark County Weed Board for 12 years, I believe, Travis?
Correct, yep.
I'd like to thank them for their service, and really appreciate all their efforts. Travis, you had some information you'd like to share with the board today?
Yeah, I just thought since I was here, I was going to give you guys a quick update on a few things. So Stark County Weed Control is responsible for around 11,200 acres of land along county and state right-of-ways in Stark County. We have completed the contract with the state for the state roads for the first go-around on that, and we're roughly half done with the county roads. So we're right on schedule, being halfway through the summer as far as that goes. Hopefully the weather will hold up for us. On the 29th of June, we held our biocontrol field day for leafy spurge flea beetles. We had 32 people in attendance that swept beetles for 20 landowners. And Commissioners Claris and Messer were there for their own personal beetles, and appreciate having you guys there. So hopefully we'll be able to use those beetles to make some progress as far as some leafy spurge goes in the county. We collected roughly 250,000 beetles that day. So we had a really good beetle harvest. So on days when the weather is inclement and it's either too windy to spray, not windy enough to spray, if it's too wet and rainy to spray, if it's too cold to spray, if it's too hot to spray, we typically would go out and do what we call scouting, and we'd drive a lot of the roads that we haven't sprayed before, and we'd check them to see where they're at for weeds. Also, we drive some roads that we have sprayed to see how effective our application has been, and to see if we have any weeds that are coming up that were a little later, like your Canada thistle and stuff comes up a little bit later near leafy spurge and wormwood. So that's typically what we do on windy days, but this year we decided to implement something new in that, and we've been, along with this scouting, we've been collecting trash out of the county road ditches. A lot of county road ditches don't see trash pickup. People don't pick the trash up on county roads. So to this date, we have collected trash along 120 miles of county right away. So we're just making a little difference out there. And I think the guys enjoy going out there and doing something that's good for the community. So that is an update. Does anyone have any questions on anything?
Travis, can you touch on the cost share program? I'm not sure that everyone is
Oh,
aware
yeah.
of what that really is.
So cost share is a 70-30 program where the county will pay 70% of the price of herbicide to control noxious weeds on range and pasture land in Stark County. The landowner is responsible for 30%. I don't know the exact number because I haven't looked at it in a couple of days, but I think at this point we've saved landowners probably getting close to $100,000.
How many participants about?
We're at 120 participants in the cost share program to this day.
Is that up or down from?
It's higher than it was last year at this point. Usually we see close to 200 landowners participate in that program.
As far as equipment needs and condition of your equipment, how are things going?
So right now, we do have a need to replace one piece of equipment for sure. Our original boom truck is a 2004, and well, if you've seen it down the road without a hood on, that's because that has overheating issues, and that was the only way for us to resolve that. When you have a lot of our equipment in the ditches, what you find is that air has no place to dissipate when you're driving at that speed with that tall grass. So you have issues with overheating. We have brand new side-by-sides that have issues with overheating because of being in the ditch. And that one has issues because it is 20 years old too. So getting a new boom truck with outfitted with the proper equipment that where we can spend more time on the road and try to circumvent some of those overheating issues would be a huge benefit to us.
Going back to your beetles, so that site that you were collecting there last week, was it last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
29.
How many of those sites are you cultivating across the county?
So as far as for collection days like that, that's the only one we have left. We used to have several locations, but some of them have been sprayed, which is fine. Some of them have changed hands and the landowners don't want us to collect on their locations anymore. But we usually have about 20-25 landowners every year collect beetles. So 2 or 3, 4 new ones every year. We have probably 75 or 100 locations where people have flea beetles.
Okay, great.
Any other questions or?
Good.
All right. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's everything on our agenda today. Is there anything else anybody else has? If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, would carry. And since we didn't take a break, make sure you pick up a donut on the way out.
Gotcha.